Good morning, Tottenham fans. The big question of today is, can Tottenham beat Manchester United in the Europa League final? This game is massive for both clubs, considering how poor they have both been in the league. This basically saves both of their seasons, even though Amorim has come out and said it doesn't save their season. But for Spurs, it does. It absolutely does save our season. We haven't had a trophy in 17 years. We haven't had a European trophy in 41 years. So this is massive for us. But can we beat them? In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 3 games that we played against them so far, what actually happened in those games, and was it as clear-cut victories for Spurs that people are making out? Because remember, Spurs have beaten Manchester United 3 times already this season, but is it as straightforward as if they've beaten 3 times, then why can't they just beat them a 4th time? Now, I'm not saying we can't beat them the 4th time, but I just want to get into that a little bit. I want to talk about the key players for Man United, in my opinion, and the key players in the Spurs team as well, which I feel that some of them have been missing for these games against United in previous games. So, and this game as well, for me, is my father-in-law supports Manchester United, and on any other day, if Man United were playing someone else in this final, I'd be cheering Man United on, because just for him to see, he supported Man United all of his life. He's very passionate and he loves them. So I would want them to win for him, but I'm sorry, mate. This time I want my Spurs to win, and your feelings go out the window. Only joking, but yeah. So in the family, for me, it's bragging rights as well. So come on, Spurs. So let's talk about the first game that we played. This is the game where Kulusevski was on top form at this stage of the season. He created 9 big chances in this game at Old Trafford, by the way, which is a Premier League record. If Werner had his shooting boots on, Kulusevski could have had 3 or 4 assists in this game. It ended up 3-0, and Spurs, out of the 3 games, this is the most dominant Spurs were over Manchester United. If I just quickly take a look at the stats, because I did write a few notes down for everything I'm saying today. I'm using the app FOTMob. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but that's what I'm using. And Spurs expected XG for goals was 4.59 and Man United was 0.96. Spurs had a total of 24 shots. United had 11. Spurs had 10 on target. United had 2. And like I said earlier, Spurs had 9 big chances created. 9. Yeah, that's rare to see 9 big chances in a game. So Spurs were predominantly dominant in this game. Man United were almost at full strength. They had Rashford playing, if you remember. I don't think Maguire was playing. We had pretty much a full 11 as well, other than Sonny. Sonny couldn't play. Werner was playing his position, like I said earlier. I remember thinking as well in this game when I was watching it that it's lucky that Sonny wasn't playing, because Werner missed sitter after sitter in this game. He missed about 2 one-on-ones, I think, and that would have been Sonny's position, so it could have been more for Spurs. It definitely could have. But my father-in-law wouldn't forgive me if I didn't mention the red card. Fernandes was their best player on the day, and he got a red card. I think he got the red card harshly, to be honest, in the first half. I think it was the 42nd minute. He went in for a challenge on Maddison, slipped at the same time, and then caught Maddison high up near the knee. So the referee deemed it dangerous, and Fernandes ended up getting sent off. That obviously put the game well into our favour. But before that happened, we were massively on top. We were 1-0 up already and was having chance after chance. So it didn't change the fact that we were the better side. It just changed the fact that it was going to be even more of an uphill task for United in this game. So Man United basically had to play this whole second half of 10 men. Early in the second half as well, I think it was about the 47th minute, Kulusevski scored and made it 2-0. And again, that's just dropped all of Man United's heads. Well, it should have. I remember us sitting back more after that. I remember us changing to a counter-attacking style. And this is when it used to frustrate me, when people used to say, Postecoglou never used to change his tactics, but we did. We sat more back and started playing more counter-attacking football in this game. And we still created chances to score more goals. But I remember as well, Man United had a spell with 10 or 15 minutes where they were peppering our goal. They had 10 remember. We were sitting back and they were, putting crosses in, having chances. They could have scored 2 goals in this time as well. They had 2 very good chances. But was that Man United playing better, or was that just Spurs sitting off? I'll let you decide on that one. I think overall, Tottenham definitely deserved to win in this game. This was the most out-and-out game where you could say a team definitely deserved to win. And Spurs, if they won 5-0 today in that game, then nobody could have complained, because Spurs had chance after chance in this game. 5-0 wouldn't have flattered us. Ten Hag was the manager in that game, by the way, and that's important because I think at this stage of the season, under Ten Hag, the players had lost a lot of faith in him and they wasn't pressing as much, they wasn't running back as much. I see Rashford, Bruno, their forward players are basically all quite lazy in this game. They weren't running back and defending as much as they do now. I'll get back onto that later, but that has to be mentioned as well. So when we played them in the cup game, both teams were in poor form, to be fair. And this was Almerim just coming in as well. I think he only managed a couple of games before he had this cup game against Spurs. Man United had Mainu, Garnacho, Casemiro and Ahmad on the bench, which of all I reckon will be playing on the 21st. So that's 4 key players missing for me, for example. So in this cup game, they had them on the bench though. Spurs had Van de Ven, Romero, Vicario and Udogie missing for this match. And obviously them 4 will be playing in the final as well. So both teams were, I'd say, weaker than they normally would if they had the first 11 out. Almerim wasn't in, like I said, wasn't in playing, managing for this long. Spurs went 3-0 up, scoring again early in the second half to kill off hope. We thought that they killed off hope. To be fair, in this game, Man United didn't give up and their subs came on and made an impact, in my opinion. Again, I think this is to do with Spurs dropping off. I think Spurs thought they had the game won and Man United wouldn't let up. So it's a bit of both. Man United still thought they could get goals in this game and they were getting chances. This is one of the games where both teams were getting chances. Spurs were putting theirs away. I think also, I might have some stats for this, I'll tell you in a minute. I think Man United had more chances in this game. So they got it back to 3-2. And I think Ahmad came on and scored to make it 3-2 as well. I think that was a mistake from Forster though. This was the Forster show, I think. I think if I remember, I'm not quite clear. Let me know in the comments if I might. But I think this was when Forster was having a mare and he was letting Man United back in with his passing from out the back. Again, Forster won't be playing in the final, so that's a good thing. And yeah, Man United come back to 4-2. So that was part of the comeback as well. But then Spurs went forward, got a corner and Sonny scored straight from the corner. Onana really should have saved it, but he flapped at it and it went straight in. Evans got another one back and it made it 4-3 to make it nervy towards the end, but ended up 4-3 to Spurs. Spurs were in control for the first, say, 50, 60 minutes, and then Man United got back into it from poor mistakes from Spurs. So that's what I'm saying. Even if Spurs were 3-0 up in the final, we know it can change in an instant, and that's what happened in this game. Let me just give you a few stats for the 4-3 game. So Man United had 54% possession in this game. They had 20 shots to Spurs' 9. And Spurs, well, I'm not even sure if that Sonny cross was counted as a shot. I'm not sure. And Man United had 4 big chances to Spurs' 2. So Man United did have the majority of the chances and could easily have got an equaliser before we got the 4th goal. So this could have gone another way on another day because Spurs eased off and made too many mistakes. So we didn't obviously have our back 4 of our back 5 playing, and hopefully that sort of thing won't happen in the final. So yeah, Man United could have got back into that. That just shows that we cannot ease off if we're winning against Man U, we have to be on it for 90 minutes. And I'm glad that a few players have come out and said that, to be honest. In the third match, this was the closest out of the three. And this is the most recent as well. Almarim has already been in the job for a few months now, and he's getting his players to perform on a higher level. Spurs were missing 3 players: Solanke, Udogie, Van der Ven, and Romero. So it's 4 they were missing. United had pretty much a full team other than Ahmad and Martinez, I think, that weren't playing. Both teams were going into really poor form again into this game. Spurs ended up winning 1-0, but there were chances on both sides. It was probably equal on both sides for chances. Spurs, I think, won it for chances, but I think Man United had more, I'd say, clinical chances. They could have bigger chances. This could have easily finished a draw. That's what I'm saying. It could have easily finished Man United 1. It could have easily finished Tottenham winning 2-0. It was on the day, it was small margins, and Spurs ended up winning 1-0. So in my opinion, this final, after saying all of that, can definitely go either way. But if Spurs don't get any more injuries from now until then, and we have our back 5 in place, I think we have that ability to defend strongly and to keep United at bay. I don't think United have got as strong as defence as we have. We're probably equal in midfield when it comes to legs. And going forward, I think Man United can be more dangerous than us, especially because we haven't got Maddison, Bergvall, and maybe not Kulu, and not a match-sharp Sonny. So I think Man United will have the edge going forward, but Spurs will be stronger in defensively. So it's not one of those games either that I think that the first goal will be vital. I don't think it will be. I think if Spurs scored first, I think Man United have the firepower to be confident to get back into the game. And I think if Man United scored first, I think Spurs would be the same. I'd be confident that we'd be okay to get back into the game. Even 2-0 scores. If Man United were 2-0 up, I'd still be hopeful we could get back into it. And then likewise, if we were 2-0 up, Man United could probably believe that they could get into it. But I believe if we were 2-0 up, we would hold out. I know league performances for United have been poor, but I have seen improvements in them. I know Man United fans probably won't agree with me because a lot of them are just probably disgusted with the league performances right now. But for example, I've watched them play 3 times against us, and for example, they press better now than they did before. They run more than they did before. Their attacking players' work rate is much more than it used to be before. They never give up. For example, look at the Lyon, when they thought they was down and out, 4-2 down with like 10 minutes to go or something, ended up winning 5-4. They never stop. So we cannot take our eye off the ball for the full 90 minutes, 120, or however long it takes. Their attacking play is a lot more precise and clinical, in my opinion. It seems has more cohesion to it, more structure to it, and it seems like they can be dangerous at any moment. So we really need to concentrate. I think, and here's the key actually to that, what I was just saying. Man United, these type of players, play like that when it matters. That's the key. So they haven't been doing that so much in the league, but they've been doing it in the Europa League. And when they do turn up. So it's going to be very difficult. A good version of Man United can really hurt the opposition. With, like I said, with the cohesion they have going forward and the pressing and the more running they do, they are going to be a handful for us. I'm telling you, it's not going to be a straightforward Spurs victory. Key players for United, obviously the first one is going to be Bruno Fernandes, definitely for me. He's their man. He's the one that knits it all together. He's a threat in the box. He's a threat outside the box. He can knit play together. He can assist. He can score. We need to nullify him. He's the main guy. Ahmad, for me, is another key player for United. He just has a knack of being in the right place at the right time. He's very skillful, very quick, and he can score a goal if you gave him time and space. He can punish you. Another one you probably want, you'd probably be surprised at this one, but a key player for Man United for me is Harry Maguire, aka Slabhead. The reason for this is because from set plays, Man United and Slabhead go together like peas in a pod. Like, if Man United get a corner in the last minute and we're winning 1-0, I'll be so afraid of Maguire getting on the end of it. He's so good from corners and set plays. He will be dangerous and something we need to make sure we don't give him any space whatsoever to finish these set pieces, because he will. He's so dominant in the air. So looking at Tottenham's performances have been dreadful in the league, let's be honest, but there's lots of context that I'll go into another day. But the Europa League, we've been a different beast. With our back five, we are solid at the back. With Bentancur and a good version of Bissouma in front of that back five, we are very, very solid, and we're very hard to break down. Going forward, we may have Solanke up top. If Kulu's fit to play, that's brilliant. Kulu and Solanke are strong up there. They're good at holding the ball up and bringing in players like Odegaard, Tell or Sonny. Sonny's just come back to fitness now, and he's got some game time at the weekend. He's going to get some more against Aston Villa. I actually had a dream in last November, that it was a Man United Spurs final and Sonny scored the winner. So everything's aligning at the moment. Hopefully Kulu is available, because he's the only number 10 that Spurs have, and he's going to be vital to have a number 10 in this game. We really need it, especially if we're playing counter-attacking football. And that will affect us going forward. If we haven't got a Kulu to knit things together, and especially because we haven't got Maddison or Bergvall now, it's going to be hard to, create chances, in my opinion. So, key players for Spurs, like I mentioned, Kulusevski in that midfield. He needs to be an on-form Kulusevski. An on-form Kulusevski has shown already against Man United that he can cause them damage. He literally made 9 big chances against them in a 3-0 win at Old Trafford. If that Kulu turns up, then Man United could be in trouble. Another one for me is Sonny. If Sonny has had a lot of rest because of injury, if he can be on top form today, he is very, very clinical in any part of the pitch. And Sonny can score a goal out of nothing, so he'll be very dangerous for us if he can be on form in this final. Romero, he's going to be vital. Him and Van der Ven together are going to be vital, but Romero on his own is also good from set pieces, just like Maguire. So that's our threat from set pieces. In the last game, he won the header for Solanke against Bodo, for Solanke to tap in from a corner. So he's key and vital, mainly in defensive modes, but definitely for corners too. Van der Ven is vital for counter-attacks. If Man United counter us, Van der Ven's pace can cover that. Also, with your doggy's pace, he can cover too. So it's vital that we have our back five for this game. It really is. They're our key players. If we both teams have available players, we have from today that I'm talking about, it's the 13th of May when I'm making this video. If we have these players available that I'm talking about, I'm going to go for a Spurs win. I wouldn't be surprised if we went to extra time and penalties though. Both teams are capable of winning this game. United have the winning heritage, and that is something I'm massively worried about. But Spurs have the motivation of being legend and the desperate times of we need to win a trophy. It's now or never for Spurs. The problem with both teams is if either lose, then their season is disastrous for both teams. So both teams will need to win this. This game will go down to mentality, and Spurs and United have both shown that in abundance during this Europa League. When it comes to the Europa League, both teams turn up. It's just both haven't done it in the league this season. Spurs lifting the trophy means absolutely everything to me. Absolutely everything. This could be a turning point for Spurs going forward as well. Lifting that trophy, getting that burden off your back. Spurs finally won't have that banter of you don't win things. And another European trophy to our name, our third European trophy to our name. and it would just, if you count the Cup Winners' Cup, fourth. And it would just be, I'll be going to London as well to watch the open bus parade with Tottenham on top, holding the trophy aloft, sea of white in London. It would just be such a great feeling and an honour to be there. I was two the last time we won the Europa League, and obviously I don't remember it. So this would be such a massive day for me. I'm going to be so nervous, but I've just got this feeling. I've had this feeling since November, since I dreamt that Sonny scored the winner. I just had this feeling Spurs are going to win. I've got this gut feeling. I know we haven't turned up in finals recently, but I just think the 21st is our day. I really do think it's our day. Let me know in the comments what you think of the game. Thank you for watching, and come on, you Spurs!